possession of everything.
It's been Agatha all along.
All right. Spoiler warning. This is our review of the WandaVision finale episode. Welcome to Intellicide.
Yes, sir.
All right. Proceed.
Yeah, I listen. I don't want to second guess Marvel in what they're doing, but I have some mixed feelings about this episode. I mean, there were some things that I really liked, and then there were a few things that I was let down by. And right, when expectations are built up like that, of course, it's common to be disappointed.
I mean, it was an interesting phenomenon. It was a fan theory show.
Yeah, of course.
Which, if you get a pet fan theory and it doesn't come true, you tend to be let down.
Well, right, but I didn't have any theories some of the ones that we saw posted. More so what I was disappointed in, and we talked about this a little bit on the last episode, was the character development.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it was 9 episodes. None of them lasted a solid 50 minutes. If you put the credits in, I think this last one was 47 48 minutes, but when you compare this to network television and you have 22 odd episodes to delve in multiple characters and certain aspects of their personalities, right, you're not going to be able to match that with this number of episodes. And one of the characters that I really didn't like the way it went down was Agnes, because I just didn't understand why she was doing what she was doing. Now I know they had that origin episode where with, hey, you're meddling with dark magic, but for what purpose? What end? And then she's lived this from 1600 to 2021,
right?
What was her motivation? Did she
I thought she captured it in one line, actually, when in the very beginning of the episode when she and Wanda were fighting, and she says, I live to take other people's power. It's kind of my thing.
Yeah, but still,
that kind of summed it up for me, is that she's been going around basically taking other magic users power.
Right, but I mean, what, to rule the world?
Which I thought was an interesting nod to Doctor Strange. If you remember the end of Doctor Strange, that's what Mordo is basically ends up doing. He's going around stealing magic from people.
Yeah, but what I mean, if you understand what he's a conqueror like Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. You don't understand why Agnes is doing it. Does she want to take over the world? Does she just want to gain, magical knowledge, to be the best? Again, that's what I'm saying. I just felt a little bit let down because I didn't understand totally why she was doing it. I
have a feeling we're going to see her again.
Oh yeah, I mean, she left her alive or whatever, and the way that she messed with her mind, you can see her becoming that mentor type because she's not in control of herself anymore. So they kind of, did that with the way it ended. But I just didn't understand why she was the way she was, and I thought maybe a few more minutes, 10 minutes of character development may have gone a long way with us understanding why she was like that.
Yeah. I have a feeling I thought Catherine Hahn did a really good performance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I thought she did a really good job, especially just in the being able to switch back and forth between the two different characters, the evil witch and the happy, neighbor.
Right.
But it was, it was, there's a lot of character development lacking in shows like this, half-hour episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, personally, I thought they actually did a really good job of, for a superhero show, I thought they did a really good job of telling a story about grief, about how Wanda had to overcome the grief of what happened. you know.
Right.
And it
Well,
was,
you're
you know, obviously the thing is, you know, the most sympathetic character in the whole thing is Monica, because she's like, you know what, if I had your power, I'd probably do it too.
right. You know, and like you said, that she dealt with the loss of her brother. We never saw it on screen, but
Right.
she loses her brother the way she
Right.
did.
Yep.
She loses her love interest the way she did.
Mhm.
Like, right, that's a lot for a normal person to process. So
Yeah.
think about, you know, yeah, I have these reality bending powers. Right. Who wouldn't do that? Like, if you can get back your loved one.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was an interesting episode when they showed what happened where she broke, where she went to the vision, she saw his dead body.
Right.
And one of the interesting things I thought was that they revealed in that took an important part was that she had a piece of the Mind Stone in her.
Right.
And so she used that to create this you know, vision.
Right.
And that vision used the Mind Stone, because he was basically made of the Mind Stone. He was the
Right.
Mind Stone at this point, a piece of it. And he gives a piece of the Mind Stone in the memories to the White Vision.
Right. Yes.
When they are fighting.
Right. Which, you know,
I also got to say, I loved the conversation between the two visions.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was awesome. When they're talking about the ship of Theseus and who's the real vision, you know.
It was
a great, because, you know, it was a great conversation, but it was a really excellent way, I thought, to resolve the whole fight between, because it wasn't, you know, a fight between them, is they ended up resolving it in a
right. But I mean, you think about it, they were evenly matched.
Right.
So the physical confrontation was not going to be settled that way.
Right. But we have, in my opinion, like, we have the real Vision back in a way.
Well, we do.
Yeah.
But that was another thing that, you know, I like, why wouldn't he have told her? Like, you know, like, hey, I know that this iteration of me is going to go away. Like, but you don't have to be alone, Wanda, you know, like, you know, get to know this. I mean, it's a carbon copy of pretty much of me.
Yeah.
You know, he just has to learn, you know, a lot of things over, and you can help with that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because some of the things I liked about the episode was how much it set up for possibilities of the future. They left open so many new things. They opened so many new doors for the next phase. You've now got Monica with her powers.
Right.
She's going to see Nick Fury in space.
Yeah.
They're going to do that Secret Invasion series, I guess. So that you'll probably see her there.
Well, okay. What's the Secret Invasion? Because I mean, you know, we already know that it's not going to be the same. I don't see how it could.
Obviously not. They're telling a different story. Obviously, they flip the roles of the Kree and the Skrull.
Right.
So I'm actually looking forward to see what the story is that they tell.
Well, you know, and this is just me. Why, like, you know, did they ever explain that Monica even knew that there were Skrulls in existence?
Well, no. Remember, she was the little girl, and she had a best.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Or, you know, well, not a best friend,
okay.
But she becomes friends with the little girl.
So yes, you are absolutely right. I forgot about that part.
So and I think that was the cameo at the end, was the little girl Skrull, now grown up.
Was that the same one? Was that the same one?
I think so. I have to go back and rewatch Captain Marvel to see if the markings are the same. But I think it might have been. That's my theory.
Well, we'll see. I don't know what the Secret Invasion could, you know, possibly be. Maybe the Kree are running around disguised as humans instead of the Skrulls.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's a really fascinating thing that they've set up with the Skrulls being like refugees. You know, they were forced out of their home world, and now they're on the run. And the Kree are the super powerful alien race who basically, like, you know, are hunting for them.
Right.
Which makes, and the fact that they're hiding on Earth makes Earth a target.
Well, there could also be a evil faction of Skrulls or whatever.
There could be, yeah.
So we'll see.
You know, but I mean, so it's interesting. They left that open. They left open the idea for the Vision coming back, even as soon as, like, they're about to start, like 2 weeks from now, I believe, the Falcon and Winter Soldier starts.
Correct. Yeah.
And so Vision's out there. He could even show up in that now. if you want.
He could. I don't think he will, just because of the power levels. I think, you know, that they want the Falcon Winter Soldier series to be more action
Right.
packed.
Yeah, that could be,
you
it's
know,
true. Yeah, that's probably more like spy action kind of.
right. Espionage.
But you know, the other thing I thought was interesting, right? And that a lot of people were pissed off about, like the Pietro.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That was disappointing.
Why?
Well, you know, for him just to be the next door neighbor, and you know,
Was he?
well, that's the way.
And let me bring up a few points, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he had super speed. I mean, maybe she faked it with magic.
Right.
It's really awfully convenient that, you know, the next door neighbor. But the other thing is, Jimmy Woo is looking for someone in witness protection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who has a headshot of themselves with their name on it laying around like that?
Actors.
Maybe. Here's the other thing. Every time we've seen Pietro in the Fox movies, where did he live?
He lived in his mom's basement.
He lived in a man cave. Yeah. Just like he did in this.
You know what?
I mean, it's thin,
you know,
but
listen,
But now here's the thing I'm going to bring up though. There's the thing coming out though is the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, I think personally, a lot of people are pissed off about it, but personally, I am of the belief that they have laid the seeds for something that they will bring back in that movie. That the Multiverse of Madness indicates that there could be all sorts of craziness from the different movies and universes.
Listen, I hope that's the case.
Probably is the PA, or he could be.
I hope that's the case. You know,
they never addressed it. Like, I mean, who was Jimmy Woo looking for?
Yeah, they never said.
And here's the other thing: if Pietro from that universe was going to make up a fake name for himself, you know it's going to be
Ralph Boner.
Right. It's going to be addictive. Just because, you know, Jimmy Woo is going to be like, okay, are you ready to go? You know, Ralph? He's like, no, that's Mr. Boner to you.
So I didn't like how Monica really was not, she wasn't even utilized in like hardly in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I wish
her origin story.
Well, yeah, it was. I just, you know, like she's locked up in the attic of the guy next door or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, come on, man. You know, we could have got a lot more across those 2 episodes than that. I thought that, you know, that was kind of disappointing. But, you know, if she's more utilized in Captain Marvel.
So there's another question. There's another question that I heard other people ask. What was Agatha doing there?
Well, again, that goes with character development.
So if Pietro had come into this from another multiverse, from another universe, through magic, and Agatha's going around sucking residual magic off of people, maybe that's why she was already there with her husband, Ralph, was that she had already been there basically doing the magic, you know, mind thing on the fake Pietro, made him her husband Ralph. She was already kind of there doing the same thing when Wanda shows up. And
that's a lot of speculation.
I'm totally theorizing. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It would make sense for why she was there, what Pietro was, and why he was there.
Right. I just wish that would have, you know, been explained, like I said, in the character development part. When we had that episode where she finally revealed that she was behind all of this madness, what would it have mattered if you would have had another 2 to 3 minutes, maybe even 5, of her explaining, like, right, did she come into Westview before Wanda got there, and that's what she was doing? You know. That right, once Wanda cast this spell, that, you know, okay, this is even more like, you know, wow, talk about like advantageous, you know, placement, like, you know, I ended up here and this is the most powerful witch ever. Or did she find herself drawn to this phenomenon because she sensed the great power that Wanda exuded to create this, you know, version of paradise? Like, you know, I just think that could have been done in a few minutes, and then we would have had, and those answers don't mess up any plans for any future projects.
Maybe they do. I don't know.
I
That's whole thing. I have a feeling we're going to see her again. The way that they set it all up really seems like Agatha is now like an asset for another story writer to tap into, right? Like she's going to be something I have a feeling we're going to see again. And with something with a title like the Multiverse of Madness, it gives me hope that like a lot of this stuff we really actually could still see.
Right. Now, do you think, okay, so what is your thoughts on who the villain could be in that? Because, you know, and a lot of people were talking about that it would be Nightmare here or maybe Mephisto. To me, Mephisto would be more of a possibility because Nightmare, while he can enter dreams, like, you know, what would he have with as far as, you know, causing multiverse type, you know, crossovers or anything, interactions like that? I don't see it. So Mephisto would be more of a possibility for me.
Oh, actually, there was one line in WandaVision that did make me wonder about that. When Agatha momentarily frees all the villagers, you know, all the people in the city, and Ralph, or no, what was his name?
The black guy?
No, it was the Indian guy. Says, when you do let us sleep, we have your nightmares. Which makes me think like she was being plagued by nightmares. You know, like what drove her to break like that and have the idea to do that? I mean, was she being manipulated unbeknownst to her? I mean, all of this might come up and we have no idea, but it's an interesting, I mean, I would take either villain, honestly, in the Multiverse of Madness. The only thing that I hope they don't do is just make it Dormammu again. Like that would just be lame. But,
well, I mean we'll see.
It's going to be an interesting because supposedly a lot of these things tie back together again. The Thor: Love and Thunder is even supposedly ties into this somehow.
Right. Well, so you know, you called that the episode was titled the series finale, right? And that's where, you know, and I think we talked about this before. It really didn't need to. It doesn't need to be a series finale. You can actually have another season of WandaVision easily where, and I'm sure that she'll meet up with the White Vision in another movie. But you can still have, you know, adventures, because a lot of network television shows, they separate the protagonists for certain stretches or whatever, and they'll have their own adventures, and then they'll come back together later. You can have that in this series where, you know, where the White Vision go. You know, you can have some kind of exposition like that in a series. You can have, you know, exposition of Wanda still learning about her capabilities from that book.
I think honestly, this was going to be, and I actually kind of like the idea that they're not going to do multiple seasons of this. This was, and this is just my personal opinion, I like it when they do a good story, self-contained. If it's a good story, tell it and leave it alone. And the story of her dealing with her grief with that amount of power, I think was a good story. And it doesn't need to be a season 2 of it, in my opinion.
That's just it.
But the characters and everything they've set up out of it, we can totally see again. You will totally probably see the Vision and hear from him again in some like West Coast Avengers or something like that.
Well, right. But what you're talking about is more film based. What I'm talking about is a serial television show, right? One season was about her grief.
This is the second time we live in, right? Like I find it interesting that how much they've blended now, because they own both property. Like this is different than them licensing the characters for Fox to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? It's like a different studio with different writers doing a show with your property. This is Disney and Marvel with their own property doing movies or TV shows. So this was the first time you saw like the whole thing. Like in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was just like you saw a couple of characters who had been in those movies be in this. Otherwise, it was just like, it was basically like a series with a cameo. This was like full on in the same universe, like affecting what's going to happen in the movies, a part of it. It was a 4-hour movie about Wanda.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like I said, what you're talking about is more film like. I'm talking about network television First season is about
This
her
is
grief.
new though. That's what I'm saying. Like we're actually
I
seeing
got
them
you.
doing
I got
something
you.
that's a little
I'm just saying
involved.
I don't like that. I don't. I want continued interaction with the characters.
Right.
I don't want it just in films. The first season about her grief, perfect. Second season could be about, them learning about their new capabilities. Third season could be about,
Would you accept
we
them
come
doing?
together.
Would you accept it if that story though is told just in a new series? I have every confidence we're going to hear that story.
But that's just it. That's what I'm saying. When you're talking about character development, I already told you before, the Vision is my favorite character.
Right.
I don't get enough of that in a film, in a standalone film, even in a 6-hour series or 9 hours. I don't get that. I want continued character progression or whatever and interaction in a series. That's all I'm saying. And when you say that, because right, they have this Falcon and Winter Soldier. That could be one season. I'm sorry. Even with the high production values that we had in this series or whatever, I still give DC. I love the Flash. I love, the Star, especially the Stargirl series that's out.
That was
now.
pretty good.
Right. DC still is heads above to me as far as, television above Marvel. And right, they're spending a lot of money on this and incorporating the film characters into the television series. But if you're doing one and done, that's not enough for me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that I think they're going to find, because what you're describing is you are a market segment, right? Like you are a particular type of viewer that likes, like, I know, like, I don't know if this is giving it anyway. Like you like soaps, right?
Right.
Like you're a fan of the serialized, continual storytelling, right?
Correct.
See a long-term development of characters.
Yep.
Epic kind of television in a way. That's what you like. That's you're in the market for that. It's just a different thing. And I have a feeling that now that they own their own channel, they own their own studio, they can cater to different markets. They're going to probably do something, I think, to cater to that market. I don't know what show it'll be, but I have a feeling that they're aware.
I hope so. I hope so. Okay, so, and this is another topic. I don't want to, but Milan came out a few months ago on Disney Plus. Did you pay for the premiere access on that?
No.
Okay. So that was $30, right?
Right.
So I actually paid for that. I said, okay, right. Premiere access, I'll have premiere access, on top of the monthly fee that I pay for. Oh, great. It's okay. So Raya and the Last Dragon came out. So I'm thinking like, hey, I'm going to be able to watch that because I paid for premiere access. And lo and behold, I'm like, wait a minute, they're asking me to pay another $30 for access to this. I said, oh no, I can't. I'm not gonna pay $30 extra for every movie that comes out first on Disney Plus. Then we already are making a commitment, to pay what, $8.
It's an interesting thing. Like, I think that they are trying to make this calculation that like if they're doing it on their channel, like they're releasing it this way, that's kind of a pay-per-view, right? And what it tells me is that they think on average what they're making from you at the theater is going to be like $30. But part of it, I really miss the movies, and I plan on being able to go back to the movies once everything's sort of back to normal. But for the time being, I mean, I didn't pay for Mulan, but I did pay for the Raya 30. But I understand that it's basically that's what they're doing. It's a one-time $30 fee. My thing is, I probably would spend more than that if I took the family to the theater to see it. So
right. I mean, on tickets, it depends on when you went to go see it. But you can pay if you went to a matinee, you could pay like $6 a person or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I get it. I'm like, man, I just don't want to do that, man. Not for everyone that comes out. And
it definitely makes me more Well, it's an interesting thing. So, like, I think we're just about out of time, but like,
Right.
to that end, there are certain things I wouldn't see. Like, I probably would have seen Mulan in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
but I chose not to do it because I didn't want to pay that $30 one-time fee. Because part of me is like, it's taking money out of the theater's
Right.
pockets because the
Right.
theater is not getting anything when I watch a movie that way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's a tough thing, and I just don't want Disney to get comfortable because we've already seen where Warren or HBO Max, where they've said that they're gonna basically release every movie
Right.
there, like in the theater. And I think if Disney gets that way, like ooh,
Yeah.
it's
I'll
gonna
tell
be
you what, though,
sloppy.
this is the thing. I am really looking forward to, like, a month from now, the Godzilla versus King Kong. Personally, I'm really looking forward to that. So.
Okay, I am too. But yeah, we'll see, man, what happens with these characters, Wanda and the White Vision.
I'm really hoping we see him again. I think we absolutely will.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
we
they
will.
totally set everything up
Well,
for every one of them to come back.
so, and I didn't look it up, man, but the Avengers movies, like I gotta hope that we see Wanda, the Vision, Falcon, who else? I don't know.
Well, there's a
But
Hawkeye series coming out, so they're setting up Kate.
yes.
Kate.
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, So I think they're actually, personally, my opinion is, and I don't know this for sure, but my theory is that they're setting up a West Coast Avengers. You've got, a Hawkeye character. You've got White Visions out there. The kids. So you've got Speed and Wicca potentially.
Wicca. Well, right. What I thought is that they were going to set up Young Avengers. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll set up the West Coast Avengers, but if they do set up the West Coast Avengers, they got to set up Patriot and Eli Bradley.
I want a whole movie just for that personally. I don't know. I would. Yeah, I know. You're right. Actually, that's, we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
I mean, that actually would be a really good story to see, to add into the whole. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, man. So actually, really quick before we finish, 1 out of 5 stars. What would you give the series as a whole?
Oh, as a whole, I'd say 4 stars, 3.5 to 4 stars. I mean, even though I was disappointed by some things, I still enjoyed it. And I've watched certain parts over again. So yeah, I give it 3.5 to 4 stars. Easily.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to say I'm going to give it like 4.5 stars. Mm-hmm. I'm not giving it the full 5 stars because they didn't go as far as I wanted them to, but it was one of those things where I did go back and I watched some of the episodes more than once. Right. So it was really good.
Oh, that's great.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Intellicide, signing off. We'll see you for the next movie, or we'll decide what show we're going to do.
Well, you know what, man? Let's talk. We haven't talked about politics in a while, man. We should at least have a 20-minute episode about that.
Okay. All right. Next episode.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.